joining. Thank you guys for tuning into Your Come Up. If you're new to the channel, Your Come Up, we discuss topics that help you on your come up. Business, finance, spiritual, personal, whatever the case may be. Today, we're going to have a conversation here with Dr. Michael Sackett. How you doing today, Dr. Michael Sackett?
Hi, I'm doing very good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. For some of us that may not know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I've had actually kind of a dual career. I have my master's degree in biology, and then I graduated with my doctor of chiropractic in 1982. I spent the first 10 years in full-time practice. In 1992, I went to work part-time for a university and still kept up my practice. And I continued on with that till 2005, at which I went full-time teaching with the university. I actually was dean of the chiropractic college for 7 years. Years ago, I took a look at online teaching and decided that there was definitely a future in that area. So I went and got my certificate in online teaching from UCSD. Also went through a postgraduate certification program from the University of Wisconsin in online teaching. Spent quite a number of years. So that's kind of an area that's been a passion of mine.
Yeah, I've been reading on something on the internet that because of COVID, there's been a demand of online teaching, and it's probably going to be a $300 or $350 billion industry by 2025 or 2030 or something like that.
Yes, it's going to grow. You're seeing right now a growing pains for online teaching, especially with elementary schools and middle schools and high schools. I think a lot of the universities were already involved in online teaching, but because of the pandemic, the middle schools, elementary, high school, and so on, a lot of them had to revert to online teaching. And there are growing pains. It's not something you learn overnight. And from what I've seen so far, the teachers are doing a really good job of adapting to that.
If anyone that wants to get into online teaching or developing an online course, how does one identify their topic? I mean, some examples might be education, business, personal development, spiritual, growing a personal brand online, social media. I mean, the list can go on and on.
Sure.
What are your suggestions?
First thing, obviously, is you identify what message you want to communicate to your audience. Who is your target audience, so to speak? Because there are different ways of getting that message out. It could be an online course. It could be a podcast. It could be a YouTube channel. I think as a rule of thumb, if you are, I'm going to use art as an example. If you're a painter and you want to sell your paintings, having a YouTube channel and maybe a podcast with experts that come on might be the best way to go. If you actually want to learn how to paint, or you want other people to learn how to paint and you are the instructor, then a course is preferable.
Okay.
The first thing you need to decide is what is it you want your audience, who is your audience, and what is your preference for something like that.
What are the different kinds of online courses? I know I mentioned, it seems like a few, but what are others that I may not have mentioned or that you want to shed light on?
Well, let me first talk briefly a couple terms that everybody should be familiar with because you're seeing them now in the news, which is synchronous, asynchronous, there's even hybrids. So what the synchronous online courses mean is it's live, it's real time. Okay. So you're seeing that now in Zoom school with the kids, the teachers either in the classroom or at home in front of their computer, they're talking, the students are watching live.
Right.
Okay. Asynchronous means that assignments are posted onto a particular website, learning platform, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then you go and read about those. You may watch videos or look at articles, and then you have assignments that you have to turn into that website. Okay. So that's asynchronous. Another quick analogy is you're watching the news and it comes on and they're interviewing somebody and it's live. Okay, that's synchronous. Then you may see them interviewing somebody, but below it says pre-recorded. That's asynchronous. It's not real time. Okay. And then sometimes courses are a combination of both hybrid. They're both the synchronous and asynchronous, which is a hybrid. So those are that's some of the terminology. Now, the types of courses, again, I think education, online courses, whether it's academics or it is a service, do you want to teach people how to paint, for example? Then you want to look at what is your audience, what's the best way to find that audience and reach them through your online course. A variety of ways you can do that. One of the things that I highly recommend, something I did before I even did my academic online programs, is take different courses. So if I'm a painter and I want people to take my course and learn how to paint, I'm going to go online and take courses, introduction to painting, intermediate painting, so on and so, and see how others are offering those courses. There's different ways you can do it. There's different learning platforms. Some of them are free. Some of them will charge you depending on the number of people watching your course. Some of them will do most of the work for you and literally you just have to supply the content. Others, you may have to do it all yourself.
Also, in an online course, after, let's say, they determine with who their market is or the niche, what topics, as far as developing a course, what steps are needed to be taken next?
Okay, so the first step is you have to look at what is your message or what is the information you want to relay, and make a determination of, again, it will depend on what platform you're going to use. For example, Udemy. Okay, Udemy has hundreds and hundreds of courses in any topic you can imagine. So if that's a platform that you want to use, you're going to go to Udemy and make sure you follow that. If it's something you're going to create your own course and just post it on YouTube, for example, then you're going to want to decide what fits also your personality best. You may be someone that's very outgoing, people love to watch you, and you want a lot more video within your course.
Right.
You may be an introvert where it could be something as simple as a PowerPoint presentation with voiceover.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you have to, again, part of this goes back to watching other courses to see what best fits your style, fits your audience. It takes some research. All that really needs to be done before you actually start a course. Once you've started and you know, okay, here's what I want to do, then the question becomes is creating the content in a flow that works best for your audience. One of the things you'll see on most online courses is a thing they call chunking. Okay, where you are giving information in small bits, generally 3 to 5 minutes. So you may have an hour video, but if that's the case, or an hour course, then it needs to be broken down into segments. Those that are watching it, they may watch 3 to 5 minutes intro to painting, 3 to 5 minutes, then they go and they click onto the next part of the course. How do you find brushes to paint? Again, you watch something for 3 to 5 minutes. So you break your presentation down into small chunks. That's extremely important.
So don't upload one big file. It has to be maybe 3 minutes to talk about this, 5 minutes we're talking about this. And it seems like in a PowerPoint, probably like module, like between 0 to 3 minutes is this subject, and 3 minutes and 1 second to 5 minutes is something like that?
Something like that, yeah. And if it's, for example, PowerPoint, you want to keep the slides. A couple things you want to be able to do is, one, make sure you don't have a lot of writing. The more visual you have in a PowerPoint, as far as pictures, the better story it tells versus just read. One thing you don't want to do is just read off a PowerPoint slide. That's boring for everybody. You also have to time that. You generally don't want more than, say, 1 minute per slide. So you're creating a course and you're doing what they call storyboarding. And storyboarding is where you are laying everything out in detail, including when there's visual, when there's audio, when you're going to do what, and then to meet the platform that you've chosen. So if it's PowerPoint, you may write out each slide, but then you've also got what part of the PowerPoint are you going to voice over, what part are you going to insert a video, etc.
Besides Udemy, is there any other platforms that you could think of? Or Udemy is what on the top of your head?
Well, that one comes first because I have that app and I'm constantly going there, but there's a lot of different platforms. I will send you a link to a site that's got a list of probably 10 different online platforms that you can share with your audience.
Once the online courses are created, any tips or suggestions you may suggest on how to market it or advertise it?
Two things. First off, after the course is created, it's really important to have a pilot where you have several of your friends, acquaintances, fellow workers, whatever, review the course themselves and give you feedback. Okay, very important for that, so that you've got some feedback before you quote unquote put it out to the public and start getting reviews on it, so to speak, for something like that. Then marketing wise, again, that's going to depend on what platform you've chosen. If you've chosen Udemy, for example, they do the marketing for you. You may have also your own website if you're selling a service, for example, your own website, and from that it could link to the course. Part of marketing an online course is going to be, how are you marketing everything you're doing at one time? In other words, is it website, Facebook, YouTube channel? You're going to hit everything if you have the course. If all you're going to do is just do a course and nothing else that you want to do, so to speak, then you may want to go with a platform that can do the marketing for you.
Okay, Udemy's one, and I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking your Instagram, your link in bio, or
Instagram. When you look at courses that are well done, like LinkedIn, LinkedIn Learning, that they bought a company called lynda.com, and lynda.com became LinkedIn Learning, but they have probably some of the best online courses. Are very professionally done, all kinds of topics in that regards. So that's another one you could talk to them about. I don't know the LinkedIn Learning exactly what it takes to get onto their program, but it's certainly worth exploring.
Well, Dr. Michael Sackett, I think you shared some awesome knowledge today. Is there any last or final words you want to relay to anyone watching?
No, I think that this is putting together an online course like that is something that can be exciting. If that's your passion, it can be a lot of fun. Working with something like that, but you want to make sure that you follow the appropriate steps, identifying your target audience, taking courses that are from like-minded individuals, so you get a sense of what else is out there, making a determination of, okay, how am I going to market this? Will this be part of the total package, or is this a one-off? All I want to do is teach people how to do watercolors or whatever it happens to be, and then that will determine also where you go as a platform. I guess lastly is equipment. I mean, you need a computer, obviously a forward-facing camera,
right?
A good microphone. I have one that I utilize. It's
Blue Yeti.
Blue Yeti.
Okay.
I got it years ago. I think I spent like $100. Who knows what it costs these days. So you want to make sure you have reasonable equipment in that regards, especially when it comes to the audio. So if you happen as part of a course, they're watching you and you are, for example, typing something, you want to make sure that the audience isn't hearing the sounds of the keyboard. All technical details. Again, something like PowerPoint with voiceover. Once you do it, plan on you're going to need to redo it multiple times and pilot it and go back and make sure that it's as good as it possibly can be.
Well, thank you for coming in today, or joining, digitally speaking.
Thank you.
No problem. And thank you guys for watching Your Come Up. Today's episode was sponsored by Yapix Web Design and Graphics. Until next time.